The biggest lie in the world. Everything will be okay. I'll say that one more time. The biggest lie in the world is that everything will be okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Sean English. I'm a 23-year-old born and raised here in Metro Detroit. I attended U of D Jesuit High School and then followed my dream of attending Purdue University. But when I was 16, achieving my dreams changed just a little bit. So for background, I was a runner in high school. It was my ticket to getting into college. I struggled a little bit with school, so I realized that I would have to find a sport and achieve academic success as well as athletic success. So I became devoting my life to running and doing that to get to my dream of getting to Purdue. No idea what I wanted to do when I got there, but I wanted to get there. So I was running nonstop. When I was 15, I was a 429 miler. When I was 16, I was a 1606 5K runner. I won my league as a sophomore before I could even drive a car legally. And I had my permit, so it's okay. Before I could even drive a car, I was running at a high level. Some of the individuals that I was beating were on their way to have a Division I scholarship as well. So that was my life, was running nonstop. And that didn't change going into my junior year of my track season. I was going to defend my title and try and win the league and make it to states and try and do my best to win states. And we were on my way to Mass when I was 16. My parents and I were on our way down 96, just east of the Davidson, and we saw a car in front of us flip over. And it's just like in the movies, but the shock of I had to be the one to call 911. And I had to be the one to decide what's going on. It was 7:30 on Sunday morning. We're on our way to Mass. I'm going to sing in the choir. I was thinking about what running I was going to be doing later to achieve my dreams of going to Purdue. And my family and I, we got out of our car, and my life changed. But I was awake the entire time. I was confused. I could hear cars, but I didn't really know where I was. It was kind of an out-of-body experience. I didn't know what was happening, but I knew not everything was great. And I felt like I was laying there for hours until I felt an immense amount of pain. I started screaming, and then my mom came to comfort me. She kneeled on top of my body and kept my focus on her, so much that she was trying to distract me from what was going on, and I had no idea what was going on. I had no idea. And she sang a song for me, like a childhood song that would calm me down when I was a young boy. And that scared me because I've seen the movies where, they do that when someone's passing and they're trying to ease them into their next moment and into the afterlife. They're trying to calm them down as they go through one of the hardest experiences of their lives. So after that, after the pain I felt, after all of that, I realized I wasn't confused anymore. I was dying. I was met with a police officer who said, "This is going to hurt a lot," and he applied a tourniquet on my right leg and saved my life. So in that story that I forgot to tell you, I got outside of my car. I was hit by an impaired driver. I was pinned in between my car and the car that hit me on the side of the highway. We got out to help, and I lost my right leg below the ankle. That was physically amputated from the car. Plenty of other injuries, and I realized that my dream of running was over. I was never going to run track and cross country at Purdue University. And that kind of hurt a little bit, and I didn't know how to deal with that because my entire life I said, I want to be a runner at Purdue, and now I have to really figure everything out. But I opened with that very, very sad line. The biggest lie in the world is everything is going to be okay. Because that's all I heard from friends and family. Focusing on the end goal took away from the difficult journey I was about to embark on. I had friends and family in the hospital visit me, and I felt like I had to make them smile. They were coming for hope. They were coming to see me for help. And I'm sitting there, 16 surgeries in a 2-month span. I spent the spring of my junior year of high school in the hospital. I spent the summer in and out of inpatient physical therapy. I busted my butt to get back to the position that I was, which was just walking. And then jogging came, and then running a little bit later. But it was never anything that I realized, but for quite some time, I had a fake smile that turned into a real smile. I was actually happy, but I didn't know how I got to that point because I was helping so many people that I never stopped to help myself. I never stopped to realize that this is what I want to do or this is what I need to say. And the big thing that I want to discuss today is it's commonly said it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. We do that with a road trip. You do that when you're cooking a meal. It's the same thing with mental health. It's the same thing with relationships, with friends and family. And I wholeheartedly agree. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Everyone in this room has goals. I have goals. Everyone has goals. They might not be the biggest things. They could be what you're planning on for dinner tonight or your retirement plans, but everyone has goals. If you don't make a plan on how to achieve those goals, there's no point in achieving those goals. It's more rewarding when you say, okay, step 1, step 2, step 3. Instead of, one day I want to be a doctor. Maybe you say, one day I want to go to school and I want to study and I want to work really hard, and then I want to revisit this dream of mine as I go through on this journey. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And being hyper-focused on the destination can sometimes lose the fact that you're going to that destination. You know, if you have dreams and you don't focus on getting to the point to achieve those dreams or the steps that it takes, you might not even achieve your dreams. Having a step plan and a goal, and it doesn't have to be detailed, this is what I'm doing tomorrow, it just has to be an idea. And I'll give you an example. My dream was to run in college. That was the only thing I cared about. My dream was to go to Purdue, and running in college was my way to get there. But I wasn't the best with school, like I said earlier, so my dream of getting to Purdue would be difficult. When my accident happened, my life turned upside down. I had a goal, but I did not know how to get to that goal. So when plans change, and everyone here knows life happens and, plans change. But through my physical and emotional recovery, I found my dream. I was blessed to receive media attention from the local news. Runner loses his leg, yada, yada, yada. I learned I love storytelling, and I learned that it was amazing that this news company could, sit down with me for 2 hours with the camera guy, and I didn't even feel like the camera guy was even there. And then 2 hours later, they're on the news talking about it, and it's all edited, it's all told perfectly, sometimes not even chronologically, where they're bouncing in and out, and they're really putting an emphasis on the story. So I learned that I love storytelling, and I looked at jobs on LinkedIn, and storytelling was not a position that was nobody was hiring a storyteller. So in college, I figured out that the best way to do storytelling for a career was to be a reporter. So here I am today, 7 years later. I'm a reporter at a news station in South Bend. I've had the opportunity to share other stories of survival. One of them recently was a man who was trapped in his car for 6 days, and he had his right leg amputated in that car. He was surviving off of rainwater, and it was something very inspiring for me to share his story because I shared it the way that I would have liked it to be shared, and it was shared originally. And he was very happy with the way that I shared his story. So that's just something that I learned along the way. And one thing I wish you knew is that issues in your own life are impacting other people. Whether it's your own personal journey or a grudge you're holding on to. I didn't realize that my family almost lost their son. I didn't realize that my mom, when she was sitting on top of me that day, April 2nd of 2017, she was comforting me, but she didn't know what was happening. She didn't know if the police were going to make it in time or if I was going to bleed out. She didn't know if I made it to the hospital, if there would be more injuries, internal injuries, loss of blood, brain damage. There was a whole list of things. She didn't know if I was going to survive. She didn't know if I would wake up the next morning. She didn't know if I would be at the next Christmas or vacation. And while I was going through my hard time, I forgot to step back and do two things. I forgot to ask myself, am I okay? Am I smiling because I'm happy, or am I smiling because I think I have to? And I forgot to ask the people around me if they're okay too. Because hard days are hard days in your own personal battle, but sometimes those hard days leak into other people's hard days. Or sometimes your hard days, you need to take a step back and help somebody on a harder day. And it's really understanding that give and that take is really, really important. So one thing I wish you knew is there's beauty in the struggle. Do not hyper-focus on the destination and really practice that journey in your head. It could be making a sandwich later tonight. It could be your retirement plan. It could be living out your dreams. But go through that journey in your mind before you go through that physical or emotional journey and see if you want to make it to that end goal. And another thing I wish you knew is always remember that there are other people in this life, and some issues that you may be having in your own personal life or that grudge, I don't think it's worth holding on to. Thank you.